Hello everyone, this is round 9 of the 2017 FF1M Championship coming to you from Silverstone, the British Grand Prix. This is going to be quite a big extensive highlights package, so to help me along I've got Courtney from Shake and Bake.
Hello, good to have you back, Brickles.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
You're a dad now.
I am Daddy Brickles.
Papa Brickles.
Old git. Yes, this is Silverstone.
I'll start calling you Daddy from now on.
This is Silverstone. A quick recap of the first 8 races that have happened. We've got Väinö Kimminen leading the championship. He's won 2 races so far, and off the back of 3 Tornado wins in a row, or 2 of them from Grosjean, because Grosjean won in Canada and Austria, and in between those Kimminen won in the United States. But you're doing quite well this season.
I'm doing alright, yeah. It's so with my new car, I guess my development curve's going to be decent, so by the end of the season maybe I'll have an outside chance, but we'll see. Kimminen looks a little bit too strong at the moment, but you never know. I do think though it might be time to, nice tractor, might be time to update the testing spreadsheet a little bit just to go a little bit more full on for this season, I think.
And if Alonso is to stand a chance of winning the championship, then that would certainly do his chances much good. He's had 4 podiums in a row, including a win at Monaco. The last winner at Silverstone was Nico Hülkenberg in driving for myself. It could have been Magnussen, but his suspension broke. And we're using the 97 to 2009 layout of Silverstone. And we've got big news going into this event because there's been a driver swap. Mitchell and Pedersen have agreed to swap drivers, so we've now got Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel in the same team as each other.
Oh, good God.
Yep,
right.
Cooper Lee now driving with Pedersen.
Okay, I didn't know you were allowed to do that. Just swap drivers with another team, and yeah, I suppose it happened with Button, didn't it, for that one time? That
final race with Tornado swapping with Exolite.
Yeah, and didn't he break down?
He did, yes, whilst leading, and that was in Button's final ever race. But Lewis Hamilton is on pole position. That's his 34th career pole, ahead of Thomas Gonzalez in the CBA racing. No doubt the CBA will be happy about that. Then it's a Tornado row 2, Roman Grosjean ahead of Väinö Kimminen, but Kimminen did top the Sunday warm-up. And then the row 3, we've got Kimi Räikkönen in this other CBA, and Sebastian Vettel in the Mitchell. Yep, that's correct, he's now a Mitchell driver. Daniel Ricciardo, 7th. Very impressive, Daniel Ricciardo. Been impressed with Andrew this season. And Valtteri Bottas, twice pole sitter this season, in 8th. Then there's Fernando Alonso in 9th, ahead of Jean-Eric Vergne. We've got the long-hairs in row 5. Then Alessandro Farina in the Gajera. Not been doing too badly this season, and he's ahead of Nolan Bryant in the other Shake and Bake. Very unlucky in the past couple of races.
He has been really unlucky.
An all FJR row 7 with Katarina Karatrola ahead of Kevin Magnussen this time around. Then an all AJ row 8, Robert Kubica ahead of a very pallid looking James Clark, I have to say. And then row 9, we've got Stoffel Vandoorne, the terminally unlucky Stoffel Vandoorne, I have to say. He's just bad luck or no luck. And then Cooper Lee, now a Pedersen driver, and he's out-qualified his teammate Carlos Sainz. Sergio Perez, bad qualifying from him this time in 19th, ahead of Nico Hülkenberg. Good race last time out from him in Austria, went from 19th to 5th. And on the back row, Max Verstappen got Willow's first points of the season in Austria, and then Carlos Sainz in last place.
Yeah, not too impressed with my guys. 9th, not the best, but, well, qualifying doesn't really matter, does it? It's not where the points are.
And I'm banking on race pace for this time because I've concentrated purely on race pace, and they're quite an aggressive approach to the race, or reckless.
Yeah.
100% ERS I'm running with no engine protection.
Oh dear, okay.
Yeah, they brought out a bit of frustration out of what happened in Austria, especially with Kevin Magnussen, whose relationship with the FJR team has suffered a little bit after after FJR described his performance as dog shit.
Well, you do need to be careful not running protection, otherwise you'll end up with another kid. And lights out, and away we go.
And Lewis Hamilton leads away into the first corner. It looks a flying start from, looked like Roman Grosjean, but a little bit boxed in on side by side with Gonzalez through Copse Corner. But Grosjean moved him up to second behind Lewis Hamilton and through Maggots and Beckett's. And by the way, they were very, very quick lap times in Silverstone. Pole position was 1 minute 13 on this layout, which is a bit mental. But here comes Roman Grosjean looking for the lead very, very early on into Stowe Corner. He's doing very well so far this season, and it looks like he's doing well in this race because he's taken the lead through Stowe. And let's see what happens further back and into Club Corner, which can be a bit tricky. And Sebastian Vettel in the Mitchell looking at Kimi Räikkönen, who is celebrating his 300th race, is Kimi.
Old, very old.
The most experienced driver in the paddock. But Väinö Kimminen, looking at Lewis Hamilton for... When was that? That was into Abbey for second place. Both Tornadoes looking pretty quick, and they've always been quick in race trim this season. And I don't know how they've done it. They've always been nowhere on Friday practices, but when it comes to Saturday, they just turn it on.
I guess just putting everything into the race run.
And I think Climax has got a very, very good ERS system. I think that's got something to do with it as well. But here comes Hamilton and looking to challenge Grosjean back through Copse Corner. Not quite managing it there, but tucking into the toe through Maggots, the left, the right, and then Beckett's, another left and another right. And then onto the back straight, left-hand kink of Chapel. Now, is Hamilton going to have a look? Well, he's looked the wrong way. Is he going to tuck back into the slipstream? Yes, he is. Now he's going to switch into the inside line into Stowe. But look at that tornado straight line speed. That's very telling. Is that going to open the door for Väinö Kimminen? Not quite. Through Club. And then exiting Club.
I do think they... I do think the Tornado is a car which doesn't really have any weaknesses at the moment. It doesn't seem particularly unreliable. It's fast in a straight line. It's not slow in qualifying. It's not slow in the race.
No, but Hamilton is putting up a fight so far. He's in that tornado sandwich going through the final series of corners. That's Brooklands and then into the long, long right of Luffield. Used to be a double right back in the day before they reprofiled it for 1997. So entering lap 3, and it is Roman Grosjean leading from Lewis Hamilton. It's Kimminen who sets the fastest lap of the race on a 1 minute 15.9. Expect the lap times to go down a bit more. He's having a look, but not going to manage that. Only Hamilton can do that if you remember his GP2 overtake on 2 drivers into Maggots.
Yeah, that was crazy. That
was mad. And I love the shot of his dad afterwards, just like enjoying that one. And Kimminen so far is going to enjoy the run on Lewis Hamilton down the hanger straight into Stowe Corner, and that's second place for Väinö Kimminen. Not for the first time, we've got a Tornado 1-2, and Kimminen, I've just looked at his fuel load, it's very, very light, so he's going to be 3-stopping. Not going to have a few doing 2 stops. Alonso's just moved up to 6th place ahead of Sebastian Vettel, so he's on the move. And you said qualifying down in 9th. Have you put some race setup into him, or...
Can't remember.
He's doing well so far, and his next target is at the 2 CBA racings of Thomas Gonzalez and Kimi Räikkönen. A little bit of news on CBA Racing. They've just signed a test driver, and he's called Mason Taylor, who's doing quite well in FF1M. And CBA are going to use Mason to evaluate him over the next few practice sessions to see if he's ready for an FF1M seat. Another new fastest lap for Väinö Kimminen as he's tucked right up behind Grosjean. Tornado's going to go into battle in a livery which kind of resembles the 95-96 Williams.
Yeah, I do like this Tornado design.
Yeah, and the 96 Williams is one of my favourite cars, actually. He's having a look down the outside, down the hanger straight, but he's going to get the door shut on him. And Kimminen's going to have to wait another lap. Look at the speed through Stowe Corner.
You were saying that 1:13 was a quick lap time. I'm not too familiar as to what the normal lap times in real F1 would be on this layout. It was 2004 when this... Was it 2004 when they stopped using it? Or
2010 when they switched to the current layout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember pole position was around a 119, 120 in the olden days as Alonso. Vettel's got back past Alonso at some point. Maybe Alonso had a look at Kimi Räikkönen down the hangar straight, but chose the wrong side, and maybe that's how Sebastian Vettel got back in front. A little hypothesis, as we switch back to the two Tornadoes and Väinö Kymmenen having a look at Grosjean for the race lead. And he's going to have a look at the inside at Copse Corner. Is he going to manage it? They're side by side. They're going to run side by side for a bit, but Grosjean getting back ahead. Now, where is Lewis Hamilton? He's still tucked behind these two. So, getting through Maggots and Beckett's once again. And if we get into a little break in action, we could go through a little bit of Kimi Räikkönen's history. But so far, let's have a look at Lewis Hamilton watching these two go into combat into Stowe Corner and side by side. And Kymmenen, is he going to take the lead, or is Grosjean going to battle back? And through Club Corner. But let's switch back to Sebastian Vettel versus Fernando Alonso. Right in the thick of traffic, and Vettel hanging on so far. Now, Grosjean versus Kymmenen once again into Abbey, going the wrong side and nearly getting his nose chopped off. Grosjean going to keep this lead for a bit, which is not going to help Väinö Kymmenen's strategy, as Alonso now the inside into Abbey. Oh no! Contact between Alonso and Vettel.
That was obviously going to happen, wasn't it?
And Vettel losing parts of his car, so if he does rejoin, he's going to have to pit to repair some damage. And Alonso spinning back round in the gravel as we switch back to the leading fight between Grosjean and Kymmenen. And once again, Grosjean hanging on round the outside. You can run it round the outside of Copse if the drivers are compliant enough.
Yeah, as long as it's not, as long as you're not Max Verstappen in 2021.
No. Yeah, and then... Yeah, that's divided opinion as that particular incident. It's quite funny in that later in the race that Hamilton and Leclerc were able to run side by side through Copse.
Yeah.
And side by side once again, Kymmenen versus Grosjean. Grosjean still hanging on round the outside, and look at Lewis Hamilton lurking up in the background. And round the outside of Grosjean goes Hamilton and Kymmenen. Grosjean going from first to third in the space of one braking zone. And we've got yellow flags at Maggots and Beckett's. Somebody has gone off. Oh no, oh no, oh come on, Stoffel. When will your car ever work?
He's not even your driver and you're still like gutted for him.
I know, he's just constantly breaking down. I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, the Willows is this year a surprising combination of slow and unreliable.
Well, Verstappen has only retired the once this season, so it's only on Van Dorn's car where it seems to. Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. And Gonzalez in the pits early, so he's had a mechanical. That's not going to do his race any good. And he was heavily fueled as well, so definitely two stopping. That's going to cost him. And was put a lot of fuel on. I think he's brought his first pit stop way forward. So what can you do from here, Thomas? You've been re-signed to CBA Racing for next season. They've been sufficiently impressed by the progress of the Argentine. 2 podiums this season so far.
Gonzalez was almost on his way out of FF1M, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Last season?
Yeah, I mean, got ditched with 4 races to go last season by Tobias in the favour of Väinö Kymmenen, which was, as it turned out, the correct decision because it helped them win the team's championship. But Exolite did throw Gonzalez a lifeline, but then Exolite left, and then CBA inherited the remains of Exolite.
Yeah, we don't talk about what happened to his body, but anyway.
Yeah, I think the story was that he'd lost the key.
Yeah.
As we're looking at the
we'll just move swiftly on.
Whoa, look at Kevin Magnussen. He's looking for 2 places. He takes his teammate, Caracciola, and now he's taking Verne up the inside at Stowe Corner. Well, let's see what happens here as Verne's defending quite hard from Caracciola. But Magnussen now up to 5th place, and both FJRs have done quite well so far, but I think they are lightly fueled and probably 3 stopping. Let's see what we can do from here.
I'm just looking at where Nolan is. He's not really made much of an impression, but yeah.
Well, he's 10th at the moment, and in between Ricciardo and Clark.
It's going to be a long afternoon for me, I think.
Where's Alonso? He's 19th at the moment, so he's gained places at the expense of Gonzalez, Lee and Van Dorn. Up the inside at Copse, well, he's having a look at Kimi Räikkönen, is Kevin Magnussen. This is a Nordic battle. And Kimi Räikkönen, so 300th race. I believe there were some races in the late 2000s where he failed to qualify because of the pre-qualifying system. So it's not actually it's more than his 300th weekend, but this is his 300th start. As Magnussen looking up the inside into Stowe corner. That's 4th place for Kevin Magnussen. He's not doing too badly, and Caracciola's just taken Verne as well, so the reckless strategy so far is paying off, but when will my engines go pop? I think in about 3 laps' time, Magnussen will go, and then 2 laps after that, Caracciola will go.
I have some faith in your engines, man.
I'm trying to, but I can't. I can barely outgun a Megatron.
You've got to manifest it into existence, though. If you're like, no, it won't blow up, then it won't. Even though this is, already recorded and everything, but, it's still...
Yeah.
Just got to lie to yourself.
I'm just pleased I managed to get a customer this season, but I suspect Willows is a little bit disappointed with how Judd's performing. Still, with 2 more teams compared to last season... Well, let's see Caracciola first. I'll reword that sentence. Next season is going to be 13 teams. So there's going to be a return of pre-qualifying.
Right, okay.
And that means I may well still get a customer next season. You might still get a customer. I think you might actually be in line for 2 customers next season.
Yeah, I think I've budgeted for 1, but hoping I'm getting 2, but hoping I'm not too far behind, if that makes sense. Because you get 2 if you finish towards the bottom, so...
So the way it goes is, in the Teams Championship, I think it's Tornado leading from Mitchell, Climax leading from Mugen. They'll get 1 customer next season, and then the next 2 manufacturers in the list, which I believe it's Megatron and then Judd, they'll get 2 customers, and then Hart will get 3, if it stays like that for the next few races.
Yeah.
We missed Caracciola. Well, we saw Caracciola taking 5th from Kimi Räikkönen into Stowe corner. Now Räikkönen coming under pressure from Jean-Eric Verne in the Andrew Racing, who've been very good this season, I have to say. Very consistent, both drivers. And one thing I've discovered, the Climax is very, very reliable so far. Very few failures that I've seen so far. And is Verne going to look at Räikkönen into Copse corner? This is Megatron versus Climax. But Räikkönen shuts the door.
That camera angle always makes it look a bit hairy.
A little bit hairy, yes. Now, can Verne get a good enough run down the hangar straight to get up the inside of Räikkönen into Stowe? He's far enough to get a slipstream, but he's certainly gone the right way this time. I was trying to work out a way how to word that, but anyway, Verne taking 6th off of Kimi Räikkönen, and Räikkönen starting to drop back now. I wonder if CBA went a little bit too qualifying heavy on both drivers. And if that's the case, then Gonzalez's race is really trashed. We're on lap 11 so far, and it's Väinö Kimminen leading by 2.2 seconds. Oh no, there's his engine gone! Väinö Kimminen's engine has blown up, and that was just on his in-lap as well.
We cursed him with the Climax being with it being a reliable engine. It's one of the few times it's gone up in smoke.
Yeah, properly commentators cursed you there, Tobias. Apologies. But Väinö Kimminen, he was on a run of 9 podiums in a row before his retirement in Austria, which equalled the record of Sebastian Vettel in 2007. That was when he was with Dark Wolf, and that was your breakthrough season, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, 2007.
Who did I have driving for me back then?
You had Lewis Hamilton and Gianmaria Bruni.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. Gianmaria
Remember
Bruni.
that guy.
And then later Pedro Della Rosa for reasons.
Yeah, we won't get into that. But
yeah, it's quite a complicated law.
Because then I had Glock, did I?
You had Neil Yarny the season after, and he was similarly mistreated. But then 2009 came along and you utterly smashed that championship.
Yeah, that was mad, that one. Was that with my turbo? It was one of the few turbo cars, maybe. It
was your second season with in-house engines.
Yeah. Were the in-house ones the turbo ones? I can't remember.
Yes, they were, yeah. And meanwhile, pit stops are happening. We just had Caracciola and Verne making their first pit stops. And because it's a long pit lane, they're a fair bit down the order. But new tyres tend to be quite powerful around Silverstone. So let's see how they progress. Meantime, we're on board with an AJ of... Is that Clark versus Bottas? It is. Valtteri Bottas versus James Clark. Clark qualified extremely well in Austria last time out and could have easily gotten points, but broke down at some point.
See, I was enjoying reminiscing about when I was like the fastest car. I don't want to be coming back into the present where I'm like, what was it? where I can't even find my cars. 14th and...
Oh, you're up in fifth with Bryant.
Okay.
Pit stops are happening at the moment, so it depends if Magnussen's the fastest driver on the circuit, so this aggressive strategy is not going too badly so far. I'm going to touch on the nearest bit of wood that I can find, just there. I don't think that'll have worked, but here's Verstappen now versus Bottas. Clark's already gone past, but it's Perez actually hanging on around the outside at Club Corner. Bottas in the pits this lap, and Hamilton coming in soon. Magnussen also coming in at the end of this lap, so looks like both FJRs are three stopping in this race, although Caracciola did take on, I think it was about 17 laps of fuel, so she'll be going to lap 30-31, I think.
Magnussen's having a better first 15 laps than he did in Austria so far.
Yes, he's redeeming himself nicely so far.
Yeah, it was an uncharacteristic shambles a little bit from Magnussen on that race.
Yeah, he went off twice in a row, 2 laps in a row at the Jochen Rindt curve, which is the penultimate corner. And it's like, come on, man. And you were talking about reminiscing. Like, I'm just currently, as of recording this, going through adding the 1988 races, which was where you won the championship with Nigel Mansell. Oh, Magnussen versus...
Taschen-Rasch.
Yeah, it was the season after Taschen-Rasch.
Right.
You changed it from Taschen-Rasch, and then you hired Tash and the Rash with Andrea De Cesaris. That Caracciola had jumped Kevin Magnussen in that round of pit stops, interestingly. She had an absolute belter of an outlap there. How she managed that, actually? Magnussen was quite a way ahead of Caracciola before that pit stop.
Yeah, I guess the undercut's really powerful, unless K-Mag got stuck behind somebody at some point. But
I didn't see him get stuck in traffic. So, yeah, it must have been an absolute demon outlap. But there's a few more pit stops. Lewis Hamilton into the pits now. Let's see the fuel that he takes on board. Another 16 laps, so 3 stopping there. We'll go to lap 32. Grosjean carrying on. He was somewhere between a 3 and a 2 stop, so it'll be interesting to see what strategy he takes on when he makes his pit stop. As out of the pits, and Hamilton, where's he? 4th so far. Where's Sergio Perez? 5th at the moment, now 4th. And there's a Willows coming into play, which is Verstappen looking up the inside at Maggots, and he's taken Hamilton. That's not going to do Hamilton's outlaps any good. And that's an opportunity for Romain Grosjean to put the hammer down and put in some good laps. But Hamilton is going to get right on Verstappen's case down the Hanger Straight and into Stowe Corner. New tyres, that's powerful there. Medium Goodyears versus, I think Verstappen was on soft Firestones. Yep, soft Firestones for Max Verstappen and medium Firestones on board. Well, this is Romain Grosjean, also on the medium Firestones. And I think you're on the hards from what I saw.
Yep, I'm on the hards for now. I think you've probably noticed. Other people won't have noticed because I imagine not many people pay as close attention to you as this kind of thing, but have you noticed about my tyre choices this year, actually?
You've been running softs in practice recently, and then assume mediums in qualifying and then hards in race.
Yeah. Eagle-eyed as always. I think I'm probably going to start using mediums during the races soon, but I'm sure I won't give away exactly my plan for doing that, but I'm sure you can probably figure out why that is.
Yeah, mediums seem to be the best race tyre to use at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I've been running a mixture of tyres in the practice sessions. In previous races, I've been running one soft, one medium, trying to develop the actual tyres.
Yeah.
And I think that's compromising me qualifying efforts and then subsequently the race because I'm just having to make up for lost time. This time around, I've gone a bit different, using the hards in first practice and then softs in qualifying, which didn't work out well anyway because I was on 7th row, but that's because I'd focused on the race. And then using the mediums for the race this time around. We had Nolan Bryant briefly leading, but he's now made his first pit stop. So now we've got Kimi Räikkönen in the lead in his 300th race. That's nice to see. But he has got Lewis Hamilton all over the back of him as Kevin Magnussen sets a new fastest lap. and Magnussen will be going up to 7th place, and, well, 6th actually, now that Sergio Perez is in the pits. 2 drivers have yet to stop. Well, a few more than that, but off the front lot, Raikkonen and Farina, as Lewis Hamilton takes the lead of the race. Hamilton ahead of Grosjean. I think that's how it was before the pit stops. Grosjean now having made his first pit stop and rejoins just behind Lewis Hamilton, and Grosjean is 3-stopping as well. He didn't have that much fuel on board, so it's pretty much a straight fight between Hamilton and Grosjean on their 3-stop strategies. As we have a look at the FJRs chasing Farina, who is yet to stop, and Caracciola keeping a middle ground going into Abbey. She'll have to wait until at least Copse Corner before making a move. But, as you know, the Judd's not the best engine in the field at the moment, but I'm working on it.
Well, you won last season, so...
That's probably because I think I had the best aerodynamic car last season, which offset any power deficiency that the Judd might have had. Kimi Raikkonen in the pits this lap, and he is making things difficult for Grosjean as we go through Maggots and Beckett's once again for the 19th time, as Farina is desperately trying to hang on to 4th place. Farina not pitting this lap yet, but Grosjean now up the inside of Kimi Raikkonen into Stowe Corner, use the advantage of new grip to take 2nd place. Raikkonen struggling. Now Caracciola is looking up the inside of Farina into Stowe. Can she do it? Yes, she can. Both of these two raced in FF2M last season. Farina did very well, got runner-up spot to Väinö Kimonen. Nolan Bryant was 3rd last season in FF2M, and Caracciola was 4th, so all 4 of those graduated. And I suspect we're going to see quite a few graduates into FF1M next season, because at the moment we have Charles Leclerc, who's doing okay. Who else is doing okay? Kvyat's recently had a podium, but who knows, he might... I'm not sure if he'll get a drive, but there's a few others as well, such as Alexander Albon, Lance Stroll, but I'd recommend a bit of caution on those two, because they need a bit more time.
And particularly Stroll, he needs a lot of time. Stroll
is extremely hot and cold. It's basically boiling or freezing. He either does well one weekend, or he has an absolute clanger.
Right. This looks like there's about to be a clanger here. There's a lot of cars in a very short distance.
Well, one of those is headed by Thomas Gonzalez, who's worked his way back up to 9th, a little bit out of sync in pit stops, but Gonzalez, I'm sure, is going quite a long way before making his 2nd pit stop. And at the moment, he's holding up all on board the Gonzalez Grandad train. He's got 2 nicknames. He's known as Speedy when he's doing well, or he's known as Grandad when he's not doing well.
Grandpa Gonzalez.
Yeah. Those nicknames what Tobias gave him in the Tornado days. But look at that queue. It's got Gonzalez, it's got Clark, Bryant, Alonso, Perez, Verstappen, and I think Raikkonen's in amongst that as well, and Kubica. That's stretching from 9th all the way down to 16th
Bryant
place.
Was having to go there at... No, it's not. It was Kubica he was having to go at. Don't think that was... Oh, it was Clark, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Bryant versus Clark. And Bryant's keen for his first podium. In Road America, he was absolutely wiped out by Hamilton on the last lap. And then Austria, his engine blew up whilst running 4th, and Clark losing so many places. It's going to be 3 wide, and the shake and bakes head to the front of the queue. That's some very good driving from both of them. And it's Bryant ahead of Alonso.
I was expecting an explosion of carbon fibre from my 2 guys there, because they've already come together once this season.
Well, funny enough, last season was where we saw Lee and Perez collide at Stowe, and then Lee basically doing a helicopter impression through the Stowe gravel trap.
Was it? Didn't Guy's cars crash here one season?
Was
that Monza? Am I getting confused with the time that somebody won the race? I think it was one of Guy's cars again. Won the race, crashing over the finish line.
Oh, that was Rubens. That was Timo Glock driving for Guy Racing at the time.
Yeah.
Like lapping Rubens Barrichello and just putting him into a big flip and just destroying Glock's nose as Glock won. That's a moment that I think that was nominated for Crash of the Season.
That was brilliant, that one.
Yeah.
What a way to win.
Yeah, just put Barrichello into a flip.
Was that in the GP3 days where it had the... if a car kind of jumps up in the air, it basically just exploded?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And Verstappen taking 2 in 1 there, as he takes both Clark and Gonzalez up to 10th place as Max Verstappen. And funnily enough, with Max Verstappen, I noticed he actually set the 4th fastest lap at Austria. So either Willows went quite aggressive on the Ers for that race, or they're getting their car together. And it's good to see Willows doing quite well.
Yeah, they had a really strong first season, and second season I think they were alright.
Second season wasn't a particularly good one, but then the third season in this modern format, they won the team's championship. Yeah, they aced the Ilmore engine early in the season, but then others caught up, and then 2015 was hot and cold, and then 2016 was a disaster. Yeah, the ERS reset really hurt them for 2016 because they had a very good ERS in 2015, and then once it was reset, they were just back of the field, which was unfortunate.
Now they've done a Renault, haven't they? And
getting rid of their...
Yeah.
Oh, that's Gonzalez struggling through Maggots and Beckett's. And further up, what's happened to Valtteri Bottas? He's lost quite a lot of time, 3 and a bit seconds over Nolan Bryant, who's already got ahead of Valtteri. Is Valtteri in trouble? I think he is in trouble. Alonso's got ahead of the GRM driver. I've just seen it there. Smoke. Valtteri Bottas out of the race. So, unfortunate for GRM, who could do with some more points. They started off quite strongly, but as the races have gone on, they've sort of fallen back a little bit, which, with a 16B car, kind of to be expected. The development curve on the 16B cars is not as good as the 17s, which you're running. Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Magnussen looking at Caracciola into Abbey. These two battling away for third place now.
Yeah, I thought that was... I thought I might have to be consoling you there for a second.
Going round Luffield. When is Magnussen going to attack his teammate? Is it going to be into Copse Corner, or is it going to be into Stowe Corner later round the lap? Both going on to their 25th laps now. And Magnussen not close enough to have a look. Caracciola got good traction coming out of Luffield. There's Magnussen looking at the outside, which they'll back off. Sensible Dane. And now through the Maggots and Beckett's complex, through the left kink at Chapel, which is a nothing in these cars. And looking around the outside, but he's going to have to back off. Now back into the slipstream, but once again, not close enough to have a look into Stowe Corner. Now I'm trying to... There's yellow flags. That's where Bottas has pulled over. It must be. And yeah, confirmation. So I think Bottas managed to do one more lap before finally giving up. Or rather, his engine giving up.
It was a valiant effort to keep going.
Yeah, isn't it part of the Megatron contract in that if you pull up with an engine failure, you've got to go out and push?
Exactly, yeah. I need that engine development, so if the car sets on fire, the advice is to go faster in the hope that it blows out the flames.
Yep. Now, Hamilton's been caught by Grosjean in this middle stint, so we're going to have a lead battle sometime soon. As we approach... Nolan Bryant, he's got a mechanical problem. Can he make it back into the pits? Well, he's sensibly letting Fernando Alonso through. And I think he's made it.
Terminal.
He's made it. So Bryant, that was from 7th at the time, now dropped to 8th. And, well, take your pick. Is it transmission or brake problem? But either way, new steering wheel, send him on his way.
It's good that... Ooh, okay. Yeah, it's good that a new steering wheel fixes brake problems.
Yeah. You just quickly open the little brake box and just tighten the brake pedal, give it some WD-40. There you go.
I do like that that's added into the law now. It's just like, you just come in, replace your steering wheel and it fixes it. It's just the Control-Alt-Delete of F1 cars, isn't it? Just fix the steering wheel, replace the steering wheel, it'll be fine. And that does happen a lot in real F1, doesn't it? Where they just replace the steering wheel and whatever gremlins it's... It
is a good one, actually. I remember I think it's the 2000 Canadian Grand Prix. Ralph Schumacher, driving for Guy Racing, his engine failed. Let's have a quick watch at Magnussen looking up the inside of Caracciola into Copse. Nearly contact between the two, but just about enough space given. Yeah, Ralf Schumacher's engine blew up on his in-lap, came into the pits, and he rejoined.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. You can fix an engine in a pit stop.
It was the new steering wheel meant that it turned the smoke machine off at the back.
Yeah, having a little rave in the back. And quick mention on the other positions. Both Andrews in the top 6, Verne 5th ahead of Ricciardo 6th. Alonso back up to 7th now, so he's back in the points. And we'll keep an eye on the gaps. Well, actually, I can keep an eye out on the lap time counter on the left. Alonso quicker than both Andrews at this point in the race, and so he is catching. And Max Verstappen, he's quick as well.
So let me just try and get my head around this lap counter thing, because I haven't fully understood it. So it's showing what their fastest lap.
So this is who was fastest on that particular lap. So
Okay.
So on that lap, Clark out. That's a mechanical problem for James Clark. And what was the problem? Suspension. Yeah, the front looked a bit low, so that's unfortunate.
I was thinking it was like their fastest lap was lap 1 for Grosjean, and I was getting a bit confused with that one. That's that does make a lot of sense now.
So on this tour, on the last tour, Grosjean was quicker than Lewis Hamilton. Magnussen quicker than Caracciola. But Magnussen is tucked up behind his teammates, still looking for a way through, but he can't seem to find the right side down the Hangar Straight. But luckily for FJR, they are both quicker than both Andrews at this point, and Alonso a lot quicker than both Andrews at this point in the race. And Max Verstappen catching up to Alonso as well. And approaching half distance. Let's commentate on this potential overtake. Magnussen now has chosen the right side into the Stowe corner, and Magnussen takes 3rd place off of Caterina Caracciola. And as it's half distance, I am expecting an ad read from one of Courtney's sponsors.
Oh, it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, thanks for reminding me of my contractual obligations. Hold on a minute.
Yep, we'll await that. As for the moment, we'll watch Roman Grosjean, now close right up to the back of Lewis Hamilton and pitting first by the looks of it. So Grosjean is going to try and use the undercut to get ahead of Lewis Hamilton during the second round of pit stops. And Magnussen now having moved up to 3rd place ahead of Caterina Caracciola. Magnussen yet to score a podium this season. Caracciola has scored a podium. That came at Mugello. Nearly got a 2nd place, but had to settle for 3rd. And actually, Magnussen was in 2nd, but he failed on the last few laps with a mechanical problem. So, yeah, it's been one of those seasons for FJR so far. But so far, FJR not doing too badly in 3rd and 4th. Andrew also not doing too badly, Verne 5th, Ricciardo 6th, and as Roman Grosjean, he's going to turn long right, but he's going to keep turning right as he enters the pit lane for his 2nd pit stop. Over to Courtney for the ad read.
No, it has to come in at a moment where you don't expect it, so I have to like shock you with it.
Ah, right.
Yeah, that's part of the contract. Tell you what, your guys haven't blown up recently. They're still both running. You were saying like they're gonna blow up. Like,
oh yeah, I did.
They said they were gonna. What lap did you say?
About
25 or something.
15 and 17.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah,
it wasn't recent then.
Yeah, my prophecy failed, thankfully. So far, touch more wood. Speaking of wood.
Damn it! You took the cock right out of my mouth there. I mean words. Anyway, gonna probably edit that one out.
Can I commentate on Lewis Hamilton's pit stop first? Because he is in the lap after Roman Grosjean. I didn't quite see where Grosjean rejoined, but he's obviously 3rd and just ahead of Verne. So that's a good bit of clear track for Roman Grosjean. Now, can he put in a good outlap to jump Lewis Hamilton as the Mitchell stops in his box, takes on a new set of medium Goodyears? And it's a good stop, 5.6 seconds. Can Lewis Hamilton maintain the lead, or will Roman Grosjean get the jump? Well, it's Kevin Magnussen who is going to briefly lead as we go through Copse, exiting Copse. Keep an eye on the backgrounds. Here's Grosjean. Where is Lewis Hamilton? Lewis Hamilton... Well, he's still ahead, so Lewis Hamilton used a good in-lap, but now Grosjean on warmer tyres is going to try and make his way down Hangar Straight and try and get into the slipstream. and take second place potentially. Up the inside now. Here comes Roman Grosjean. He's going to get the jump on Lewis Hamilton for second place, but for the net lead once Kevin Magnussen comes into the pits. Sergio Perez coming into the pits as well, and a few others. I think Ricciardo into the pits. Is Ricciardo into the pits? I'll have to keep an eye. Yes, he is, yeah.
Yeah, they're both going at it in their blue machines there.
Yes.
It's like the 96 season in F1, where like all the front runners were blue.
Benetton, Williams, Ligier.
I think there was another as well.
One other, let me think. Well, Ferrari was red, Jordan was gold, as Kevin Magnussen comes into the pits from the brief race lead. Now, can Magnussen stay ahead of Caracciola, who made her pit stop? And is she going to try and use a good set of outlaps to once again get the jump on Magnussen, or is Magnussen going to stay ahead? As Jean-Eric Verne comes into the pits from 4th place.
Alright, got a bit of a slipstream here. Is he going to do a dive bomb here?
Back up the inside, Lewis Hamilton, side by side through Stoke Corner. Is Grosjean trying to hang on, but Lewis Hamilton retakes the lead and track position off of Roman Grosjean. And Caracciola did get the jump on Magnussen once again, so Magnussen has got to try and overtake all over again.
And they seem to be overtaking each other quite well, though. They're racing quite well at this circuit.
Yeah, Hanger Straight's proven to be a good slipstreaming place, and they're not being too disadvantaged by the dirty air through Maggots and Beckett's.
It is normally a bit of a highlight of the season. I seem to remember that it's normally a bit of a longer highlights package for Silverstone, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember us doing one in for 2008. That was an hour-long highlights package. That was won by Jenson Button in the Tornado, having taken the win off his teammate Giorgio Pantano on the last lap.
Giorgio Pantano, that's a name that I'd forgotten all about.
Yeah, that's a throwback.
Yeah. Is he one of those ones that did ludicrously well in FF1M compared to real F1?
Yes. Yeah, he won a few races in FF1M, all with Tornado. One in 2007, either two in 2008. Might be wrong on the number there, but yeah, he won across 2 seasons.
Domata's my personal favourite for that, completely innocuous F1 driver, but in FF1M, absolute Chad.
2-time champion, and I think retired too soon, because in real F1 he retired, he was ditched in 2004, and in the FF1M world he retired at the end of 2004. So I think he had a few more seasons in him.
Yeah.
Well, if we're going to go by that, then the 93 Classic season won by Alessandro Zanardi.
He was, I love that guy.
Yeah,
I think everybody
great.
does. Yeah.
He's great, Zanardi. Yeah, won that with CBA Racing.
I'm just waiting for... Ooh. Okay, yeah, I was waiting for an aeroplane accident there, but yeah.
And that was a new fastest lap set by Magnussen as well, as he once again tries to get ahead of Caracciola. Can he do it this time? Well, I think this looks good down the Hanger Straight. Good slipstream, and he's going to go down the correct side. And there comes the run into Stoke Corner. Caracciola trying to hang on, but Magnussen, deja vu, takes 3rd place.
Yeah, but she's a bit closer this time. She might dive bomb. No, she's going to have to wait another lap, recharge her batteries. Speaking of recharging... the lifelike Lover Classic rechargeable remote control dildo 8-inch is now down from $54.99 to $32.99. Apparently 8 inches classes as lifelike, but there you go.
And there's life in Nolan Bryant as he tries to get ahead of Max Verstappen into Copse Corner, but nothing going on that particular overtake. And Verstappen himself chasing Alessandro Farina, who I think 2-stopping, is in 9th place. Raikkonen looks to be 2-stopping as well, and he's in 8th. So not many taking the 2-stop option, as Bryant now inside of Verstappen into Stoke Corner, but Verstappen hanging on round the outside.
Why would you need it recharge? Like a remote control, that's what I want to know. It's confused me, that ad read.
You give the remote control to someone else to... I imagine it's sort of like a DOM thing.
Maybe. Like Dick and Dom in the bungalow?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
As another new fastest lap for Kevin Magnussen, as let's keep an eye on that gap. 18.6 seconds between Magnussen and Hamilton. And Hamilton and Grosjean sort of stabilising at 1.6 seconds. I suspect that's still going to rumble on for the next 20-odd laps. As through Luffield, Farina versus Verstappen and Bryant behind. Verstappen looking at woodcuts. That's quite unconventional from the Dutchman, but unconventional is what Verstappen does best.
Speaking of woodcuts, do you need any new lubricant? No, I've already done my one ad read. I'm not going to go beyond what the contract requires me to do.
Well, there's some races you have done 2 ad reads, but it's a first commentary for a while, so we'll do one so far.
We'll lay off it now.
Speaking of laying, I'm joking. Verstappen now up the inside of Farina into Stowe Corner, and up into 9th place goes Max Verstappen. And now Bryant looking at Farina's 10th place. I'm just keeping an eye on Fernando Alonso, how he's doing for Shake and Bake. 7th. And where is he in comparison to Ricciardo and Verne? Magnussen absolutely flying. I think he took 1.5 seconds out of Lewis Hamilton on that particular lap.
And he's still going. For 100% ERS, that's pretty impressive.
And no protection as well.
No protection.
Speaking of protection,
no.
Maybe later. Let's see, Ricciardo 40.1 seconds off of Lewis Hamilton, and Verne 4 seconds back, Alonso 1.4. So Alonso looking to challenge Jean-Eric Verne for 6th place in the not too distant future. And Kimi Räikkönen 54 seconds off of the race lead. Bryant looking up the inside of Farina into Copse Corner, and identical lap times between Farina and Bryant. They're both on 10. And Kubica, Vettel and Perez, 12th, 13th and 14th. Hülkenberg not having such a good race this time around. He's down in 15th and not exactly on the pace. I'm a little bit concerned about that. He was good last season at Silverstone and took the fight to, I think it was Gonzalez, pole sitter, and then Magnussen got the initiative on Hülkenberg, but then just before the 3rd round of pit stops, Magnussen's damper failed going through Bridge Corner. And then Hülkenberg assumed the lead and kept that until the checkered flag. Kimi Räikkönen into the pits this lap for his 2nd and final stop.
Was it specifically the damper, did it say that, or is this just a law thing?
It was suspension, but that can be anything from wishbone, tow rod, push rod. And I'm going
saying damper.
I'm going with damper, yeah.
Speaking of getting damper...
definitely something from Love Honey there.
Yeah, it's all about the segues at this point rather than the ad reads now.
I do love a seg.
We know that, you're a dad now.
How's that relevant, I suppose?
Because you like segs.
Oh, all right, yeah. Out of the pits goes Kimi Räikkönen and rejoined 15th. That's just ahead of Gonzalez and behind Lee. That was Lee that I saw flashing through. So, Kimi Räikkönen. Now we've got 2 CBA racings together, and I think both have made their final stops because Gonzalez came in very early, and he must have made his 2nd and final stop by now. Alonso off the track at Priory Corner, and doing a bit of gravel landscaping, but rejoining. Don't know how much he lost, but he's still in 7th place.
Not a very smooth race for Alonso. He is actually a little bit more error prone than you might expect him to be. I've noticed this for...
It was the 2012 race where he was chasing Ricciardo for the race lead, and then we just saw him go barrelling off at Copse Corner out of the race. Yeah, one example. I mean, he's a 3-time champion, so must be doing something right, but yeah, he does make a few errors, does Alonso?
Yeah, considering he's how decorated he is, he does make a surprising amount of errors.
He's also the driver with the most pole positions in FF1M. He set the record at Macau last season.
Oh, right.
And then extended that at Canada when he took his first pole of the season with Shake and Bake.
Yeah, that's my first pole in God knows how long that.
Since Vettel last season.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't remember much from last season, to be honest, other than it just being
Well, speaking of things that haven't happened for a while, the last time we saw both FJRs on the podium in canon, 2006.
Really?
Yes. And that was the final race of the 2006 season, which saw... It was Michael Schumacher's final race in FF1M, and won that one to help Nico Rosberg become champion.
Good old Michael.
Yeah. And final pit stops underway. Hamilton and Magnussen making their final pit stops. No, actually, yeah, hang on. Grosjean rejoining ahead of Lewis Hamilton. We've missed that. Roman Grosjean has just jumped Lewis Hamilton for the net race lead.
Well, that's surprising because the undercut was normally stronger.
Yeah, obviously Grosjean must have put in some demon outlaps, or did Lewis Hamilton get held up behind... now this is Hamilton coming into the pits. The timing's a little bit late, so this is the replay. He got held up by not just Magnussen, but also that driver in front. Grosjean pitted at the same time. It was a pit stop race. Well, that explains it. So, Caracciola briefly led the race, but now she's come into the pits for her final stop. Should rejoin in fourth, quite comfortably in fourth. She's a long way ahead of the two Andrews. Verne having made... And Ricciardo's actually jumped Jean-Eric Verne as well. So, yeah, it looks like the overcut seems to work quite well, just as well as the undercut, depending on how you execute it. Maybe the undercut should be more powerful, but... Yeah, Hamilton did get held up in the pit stop by Magnussen and Grosjean. And Grosjean making his way through the traffic. That is behind a Pedersen. Is that Sainz? I think it's Sainz.
Yeah, not being very obliging.
It might be Cooper Lee, actually. I think it's that Dayglow pink helmet that Lee's running.
And this is letting Hamilton hone back in.
Yeah, that's not very compliant Lee. Lee, of course, former teammate to Lewis Hamilton before the driver swap, so is Lee doing Hamilton a little bit of a favour as, and lets Hamilton through a bit quickly.
Conspiracy there.
And Lee coming into the pits as well. So, yeah, Lee doing Hamilton a bit of a favour as Grosjean starts lap 49. 4/10. Hamilton was quicker on that lap. But Magnussen's even quicker than both of them. He's only 6.3 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton. As into club corner goes Alessandro Farina. This is behind Thomas Gonzalez, who in 13th place now has got some more traffic approaching. That is...
It's Vettel, isn't it?
Yeah, the Vettel... Well, he could have made it a bit trickier for Grosjean, but anyway, Vettel not having such a good race in his driver swap, had that first lap incident with Fernando Alonso at Abbey and losing his front wing in the process.
Yeah, I mean, it was always going to happen. He was always going to hit one of my guys, wasn't he?
Have Vettel and Alonso been teammates together? I'm trying to remember if they have.
Don't imagine they have.
I don't think so.
I think Vettel... Because Vettel, for the longest time, I kind of kept him, like, nailed under contract and spent all my money on keeping him. So I think for a lot of his career, he will have been paired with a cheap number 2. Other than that one season he had with Rosberg, I think it was. Did I have both him and Rosberg one season?
Yes, 2011.
Yeah.
And that was a good partnership. You're in contention for the team's championship, but 2011 was an odd season. It was very disjointed, and it's quite a big gap between...
Oh yeah, was that when it kind of went away for a bit?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. But this season was finished off, and Pedersen went on an absolute rampage in the closing stages and nicked the team's championship from Tornado. I remember calculating the gap between those, and it was something mental, like 70 points behind with 6 races to go.
Really?
Yeah.
God.
It was mental how much Pedersen had closed the gap by. I'll recalculate that at some point. And Grosjean getting a good rub of the traffic there. He's now opened quite a gap to Lewis Hamilton. It's now 2.8 seconds. He's more than doubled his lead. But Magnussen's still quicker than the pair of them. And Magnussen now only 2.1 seconds, but off of Lewis Hamilton. Magnussen has been catching up to Grosjean as well. This would be quite something if Magnussen can win from 14th on the grid it was.
Yeah, this he's on fire at the moment, and not in the usual way.
Yeah, not in the usual way. He's got Vettel trying to unlap himself at the inside of Stowe corner. That was a little bit too close for comfort, but now Magnussen has got a bit more traffic to deal with, and it's the Gajera of Alessandro Farina down in 13th place. But then once that's cleared, he's got free rein on Lewis Hamilton. And Lewis Hamilton trying to see what the gap is between himself and Grosjean. Has that gone up to 3 seconds? It's a bit tricky to see from the timing graphic. But through Priory and Brooklands go Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton does quite well at his home Grand Prix, but not usually on the top step of the podium. He gets a lot of podiums, but not usually the top step. I'll have to go back into the records to check if Hamilton has won the British Grand Prix. I'm pretty sure he has. But yeah, had a lot of
imagine
podiums.
at some point, yeah. It would have done.
Michael Schumacher, I think, has the most British Grand Prix podiums, but none on the top step.
How do you know all these things?
I've been collating quite a lot of data during my period of absence. I say a lot. I mean, father duties come first.
You would hope so.
Yes. But when the little one's asleep, he gives me the chance to work on some statistics and completing the FF1M wiki. That's my mission.
You're living the dream right now.
I'm living a dream.
Mopping up baby sick and filling in FF1M spreadsheets.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, life's peachy. So going through Priory and Brooklands once again. This time it's Roman Grosjean, and he's got more traffic. It's an AJ, and it is Robert Kubica in front of him. And Kubica down in 12th place so far. Clark having retired with a suspension problem. AJ's yet to get 2 cars to the finish this season so far, so they've been particularly unreliable. He spotted something.
Just thinking what's happened to Brian. He's looking a bit further down. Before he was kind of back to back with Alonso. Has he made an extra stop on the back of that?
He had that technical problem mid-race.
Yeah, so maybe he didn't factor that into his actual stopping schedule. He didn't bring forward a stop. I think he's gone from a 2-stop to a 3, is it?
Yes, I think he definitely made his first pit stop later than most, which suggested a potentially 2-stop strategy. So, yeah, it could have shifted from a 2 to a 3. And as a result, he's now behind Max Verstappen, and the American sits in 9th. But he is catching up to Max, who was quicker than him on that last lap.
And now I know how this lap thing works. It's really, they should have that in the real F1.
Yeah, it's pretty useful, that.
Yeah.
And real F1 doesn't have the engine trophy, which is something that I've added to the wiki sheets. Basically, engines compete each other for bragging rights. And a little rule there is that the best 2 positions count towards points for an engine. So, for example, if in this race so far we've got Climax running 1st, 5th and 7th, 1st and 5th would count. So, yeah.
Yes, it's to offset the teams with the engines with multiple teams.
Yeah, because like in the past 3 seasons, I've been running Judds exclusively, and others would have a bigger advantage running more of their engines.
See, real F1 is just falling behind.
Yeah, this is innovation.
Yeah, and we encourage customer engines as well. We don't not let teams join because they're not bringing GM straight away. Sorry, shots fired there.
Yeah, they may not be competitive right away. So what?
Yeah.
I mean, 2008, we had 15 teams in FF1M, and 2 of those teams did not qualify for a single race.
Do you know what really frustrates me about the F1 trying to go with 20 cars on the grid or just 10 teams? I've not seen anybody else make this point. When the budget cap was announced, people were saying, people are going to get laid off. And then people say, oh no, because the budget cap, there'll be a healthier environment. We can have more teams, and those people who are laid off to meet the budget cap requirements can be employed by other teams, and it'll be healthier. And all of a sudden, those same people like Toto Wolff are saying, "Oh, it is my responsibility to stay with the to." I don't know what that voice was. Was it? Oh, no, it was James Vowles. I think it was James Vowles rather than saying it's my responsibility to my current employees. I'm sure Toto said something like, "Oh yeah, baby."
It was Vowles that was saying that his team's still quite lossy, so he's trying to basically secure the financial future of his teams. I get his point.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I get his point, and he puts that across. But I do. But
when it's like Mercedes, Ferrari, teams like that, and come on, they will have laid loads of people off to meet that budget cap. So
that was Magnussen having a look at Lewis Hamilton into Copse Corner. He's now right up to the Mitchell. And this is a spanner that Hamilton could have done without, because he needs the points, he needs to capitalise on Väinö Kyminen being out of the race. Then again, Grosjean is leading the race and looks on course to win and propel himself into championship contention. There's a slipstream for Magnussen into Stoke Corner. That's late on the brakes, and Magnussen side by side with Hamilton. Can he do something around the outside at Club Corner? Is he going to do it? Yes, he is. Kevin Magnussen up into second place. And Hamilton down to third. I think he should still be safe in third. He's quite a long way ahead of Caterina Caracciola. And meanwhile, further back, Alonso's now up to sixth and catching up to Daniel Ricciardo, 1.5 seconds behind the Australian. So if Alonso gets a fifth in this race, I think that's salvaged something in a way.
I'm sure Tobias Wolff will be saying, No, you cannot overtake like that. It is not in the rules. I have the rules printed out.
That was so not right.
Our Tobias Wolff is not as anywhere near as bitchy as the real Toto Wolff. I used to really like Toto, but he just didn't take the kind of Mercedes downfall with much grace, I don't think.
Then again, I don't think Horner's particularly... the Red Bull mentality, that's basically blame everyone but yourself. Max got taken out by Hamilton at Copse Corner. Well, it's obviously Hamilton's fault. We got caught doing the budget cap. Well, it's their fault for finding out.
Did they say that? I mean, it was Hamilton's fault, the Copse one.
Yeah. I mean, it's two hard charges, but Hamilton, in the F1 vocabulary, partially a fault, something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So, we've got a few more corners to go. This is the final lap, and Romain Grosjean going through Priory, and just 2 more proper corners to go. There's one of them, Brooklands, and Luffield. Long right, but he's got this one under control, and this is going to put him right into championship contention. Romain Grosjean goes and takes his 3rd win of the season. And that's his 2nd at Silverstone as well, because he'd won in 2014. But Kevin Magnussen 2nd from 14th on the grid. And I think the fastest lap as well. So the aggressive approach paid off. Yeah.
And Katrina 4th as well, I think it was.
Yeah, good points for FJR. So, and I think that's the first weekend where I've deviated away from developing tyres. And I've been selfish and it's paid off.
You went for glory.
Yeah, I went for glory, and I've got the glory I've got mostly glory with 2nd and 4th, and sandwiching the 2 FJRs, Lewis Hamilton in 3rd. That won't do his championship much harm, especially with Kyminen failing to finish.
Yeah, not a great day in the office for Alonso, but clawing his way back up to 6th at least.
In between the 2 Andrews, who once again, both of them in the points, and once again doing well this season. And we've got another Judd in the points, in the form of Max Verstappen, 8th place. Not too bad. And Nolan Bryant was 9th. So, not a high attrition rate, only the 4 retirements. All mechanical, James Clark, Valtteri Bottas, Väinö Kyminen, and Stoffel Van Dorn. Poor Stoffel Van Dorn.
I feel like I'll notice that more now that you've pointed it out. It was one of those things where when you said Stoffel Van Dorn's name, I realised, hold on a minute, I don't know anything about him. And that's probably because he always retires with mechanical failures.
Yeah, Well, it was in Estoril where he nearly won that from 17th on the grid in 2015, but engine blew up. I think he'd used up all his luck before then.
Was he driving before that?
He was still with Willows.
Huh. Again, I don't remember that.
Anyway, so...
I'm like Mr. Burns with Homer Simpson when it comes to stuff with Van Dorn.
Van Dorn, eh? Kimminen leads the Drivers' Championship by 4 points from Lewis Hamilton and a further 2 from Roman Grosjean, so 6 points separating the top 3. That should be good between those 3, but not quite as close in the Teams' Championship. Tornado extend their lead over Mitchell. That gap is now 46 points. Valentino Rossi might like that, that was his number. Andrew 3rd, Shake and Bake 4th, and FGR move up to 5th ahead of GRM. And then further back, we've got CBA, Gajera, Willows, Pedersen, and the only team yet to score a point, AJ. That's a decent race.
Yeah, good race. Good to have you back.
Good to be back, yes. And hopefully I'll be back for the next race, which will be the Hungarian Grand Prix at the Hungaroring. So from the two of us, we shall see you for then.
He'll be back. Going into the jungle to hunt down alien predator. I ate a whole bag of onions for lunch. It was completely full until I ate all the onions. We'll leave that in as an Easter egg.